The Strait of Hormuz is not merely a waterway, it is the jugular vein of the global economy.
The warnings coming out of Iran are now growing sharper, and they are coming on two fronts at once.
Strait of Hormuz. Chief Petty Officer Daniel Reeves is finishing a routine topside watch aboard the USS McFall, an Arleigh Burt-class guided missile destroyer cutting east through black water under a pale Persian Gulf dawn. In 3 minutes, everything he knows about freedom of navigation will be shattered. 12 Iranian fast boats are already accelerating out of the haze. This is how a maritime crisis begins. The sea looks almost harmless at first. Flat swells, light wind out of the northwest. Tankers on the horizon moving like steel apartment blocks through a narrow artery that carries roughly a fifth of the world's seaborne oil. To the north, Iran's coastline rises in broken brown ridges. To the south, Oman sits quiet in the half-light. And right here, inside one of the most heavily watched waterways on Earth, a U.S. destroyer, worth nearly $2 billion, is threading a channel barely wide enough for error. Imagine you're standing on that deck. You hear the turbines humming through the steel under your boots. You smell fuel, salt, hot machinery. On the bridge, every contact is being tracked, every radio call logged, every maneuver checked twice. Because this is not just another transit. This is the Strait of Hormuz, the world's maritime pressure point, where geography compresses strategy into minutes and miscalculation into headlines. USS McFall is no fragile target. She carries the Aegis combat system, SPY, 1D radar, SM, 2 surface-to-air missiles, ESSM interceptors, Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles, a 5-inch deck gun, Phalanx CIWS, electronic warfare suites, and 2 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters. More than 300 sailors aboard, each trained for fire, flood, missile attack, small boat swarm, and electronic disruption. Each knowing that in this corridor, danger rarely announces itself with a formal warning. But geography matters as much as steel. The strait narrows to about 21 nautical miles at its tightest point, with shipping lanes even tighter. That means commercial traffic, fishing dhows, patrol craft, drones, and naval vessels all stack into a cluttered battle space where seconds matter, and identification is everything. One wrong turn, one spoofed signal, one misread maneuver. Could you tell the difference in time? At 4:49, the first of the fast boats appears on the surface picture as a bright strobe closing at over 40 knots. Then a second, then 4 more, then the full cluster. 12 vessels total. Small, low, hard to hit, riding the chop like skipping blades. Likely Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy attack craft, the kind built for harassment, intimidation, and swarm tactics. Heavy machine guns on pintle mounts. Some may carry rockets, some may be decoys, some may be bait. That's the point. From Tehran's perspective in this fictional scenario, the plan looks clever. Pressure a U.S. destroyer inside congested waters, force it to maneuver near commercial shipping, film the encounter with drones, create a propaganda victory, or trigger a chaotic overreaction. And if the opportunity opens, coordinate the harassment with a layered strike package from shore-based anti-ship missiles, one-way attack drones, and electronic jamming to test American reaction time under compression. Not a fleet battle, not a full war, a calculated demonstration. Iranian planners in this scenario believe they understand the psychology. A destroyer captain will hesitate before firing in a shipping lane. Washington will want to avoid escalation. Regional commanders will need positive identification, and in that pause, those 12 fast boats can box the ship, fix it in place, and open a window for something bigger to arrive. That something bigger is the real threat. While the boats race in from the north and northwest, mobile coastal missile batteries near Bandar Abbas prepare Noor and Qadr anti-ship cruise missiles. A pair of Shahed-type drones launches from inland sites to act as eyes over the battle space. A jammer begins probing maritime frequencies. On paper, it's a layered ambush. Clutter the picture, stress the crew, saturate the sensors, then strike from multiple vectors before reinforcements can fully converge. They think the destroyer is the prey. Here's what they got wrong. They assumed the ship was alone because it looked alone. They saw one gray hull and mistook visibility for isolation. What they did not account for was information dominance already hanging over them. U.S., an allied ISR in the Gulf, is not confined to the horizon line. Space-based infrared systems can flag launches. Maritime patrol aircraft can map surface traffic far beyond the naked eye. Signals intelligence platforms can detect unusual emissions, and Aegis does not operate as a lone pair of eyes. It operates as part of a network. So, before the first boat cuts across McFall's bow, someone is already watching the watchers. At 4:50 and 18 seconds, a U.S. Navy P-8, a Poseidon on patrol south of the shipping lane, identifies abnormal surface convergence north of the destroyer's track. Its radar paints the swarm pattern immediately. Seconds later, an MQ-4C Triton high above the Gulf correlates the boat's departure points with increased activity at two known IRGCN coastal facilities. In Bahrain, watch officers at 5th Fleet see the pattern harden from harassment into probable coordinated action. Then, the next layer drops. At 4:51, emissions analysts detect intermittent targeting quality radar behavior from the Iranian coast. Not continuous, not enough for certainty, but enough to make everyone in the chain sit up straighter. Then comes the confirmation that changes the whole encounter. 2 heat signatures from inland. Launch signatures. Drones airborne. Now you're in Combat Information Center. The room is dark except for screens throwing green, amber, and red light across tense faces. Headsets crackle, tracks multiply. The tactical action officer starts calling ranges. The captain orders general quarters. Klaxons rip through the ship. Sailors run ladders, seal hatches, strap into stations. Aviation detachment crews sprint toward the MH-60R. Gunners check mounts. Electronic warfare operators start shaping the spectrum. Heart pounding. This is real. At 4:51 and 40 seconds, McFall issues bridge-to-bridge warnings in English and Farsi. Alter course immediately. Maintain safe separation. You are approaching a U.S. warship. The fast boats keep coming. At 3,000 yards, the outer pair splits. 2 go wide to port. 3 angle starboard. 4 stay dead ahead. The remaining 3 hang back just enough to complicate targeting. Classic swarm geometry. Force the defender to divide attention. Create uncertainty. Make every muzzle look like the real one. Could you make the fire control call knowing cameras may already be overhead? The captain doesn't guess. He sequences. First comes presence. Ship's whistle. Signal lamps. Bridge warnings repeated. Then, non-lethal deterrence. Long-range acoustic device. Maneuvering to throw wake. The destroyer's hull swings just enough to spoil the geometry without giving up the lane. One Seahawk lifts off, rotor wash hammering the water, dipping low over the lead boats as its sensors feed back live imagery. Through electro-optical zoom, the picture sharpens. Mounted weapons confirmed on at least 6 craft. Possible shoulder-fired missiles on 2 more. This is no innocent approach. At 4:52 and 12 seconds, the first Iranian boat crosses the inner warning line. Warning flares fire. Still, they come. Then the trap springs fully open. At 4:52 and 31 seconds, coastal launchers spit out 4 anti-ship cruise missiles from concealed positions near the Iranian shoreline, sea skimming, low, fast enough to matter. Simultaneously, the drones descend to provide terminal spotting. The fast boats surge again, no longer just surrounding the destroyer now, but timing their rush with the inbound missiles. One attack, multiple layers. Surface, air, electronic, psychological. The sky is about to become a storm. Aegis responds instantly. SPY-1D tracks the cruise missiles as they break from the clutter. Electronic support measures classify the emissions. The system prioritizes threats by time to impact. McFall broadcasts the engagement status across the network. Another U.S. destroyer farther south turns sensors north. An E-2D Hawkeye from a carrier air wing extending coverage into the Gulf tightens the air picture. Everything compresses into one shared battle map. 4 minutes? No. Less than 90 seconds. That's all. First layer, soft kill. Electronic warfare systems begin jamming and deception against the incoming missile seekers. The goal isn't just to break lock, it's to distort certainty, shift the target basket, introduce doubt into machines built to fly straight at confidence. Second layer, hard kill at range. At 4:52 and 46 seconds, 2 SM-2 missiles roar from McFall's VLS cells. The launch is violent, a vertical blast of orange and white, then a hard pitch toward the threat axis. A second pair follows moments later. You feel the deck punch upward under the cell exhaust. Sailors on internal comms hear nothing but clipped commands and confirmation tones. 36 seconds later, the first intercept flashes against the dawn like a second sun. One Iranian cruise missile disintegrates into burning fragments and slashes into the Gulf. The second evades the first shot with terminal weaving, but not the follow-up. Another detonation, another kill. Running count: 4 cruise missiles launched, 2 destroyed. But the other 2 are still inbound, lower now, using sea clutter, coming in offset from the fast boat swarm. That's deliberate. Force the defender to split radar attention between surface chaos and aerial speed. Third layer, ESSM. McFall Ripple's evolved Sea Sparrow missiles against the remaining pair. Shorter range, faster reaction window, built for exactly this kind of terminal defense. One missile meets its target at low altitude, showering the waterline with incandescent debris. The other survives longer, its guidance wobbling through jamming, still pressing in. Running count: 4 launched, 3 destroyed, 1 still coming. Now the surface fight explodes. At 2,000 yards, the lead fast boats open fire with heavy machine guns and rockets. Tracers stitch the dark water. One rocket splashes short off the destroyer's port quarter. Another flies wild. The Seahawk overhead marks targets with laser precision and relays coordinates. McFall's 50 cals answer first. Then the Mark 38 25mm chain guns. Controlled bursts. No panic. Training and discipline. One boat erupts at the bow in a spray of flame and shattered hull. Another slews sideways, engine compartment smoking. A third tries to cut across the stern and is caught by helicopter fire, its wake turning to steam and debris. 12 boats came in. Now 9 remain combat capable, then 8, then 6. The Iranian swarm keeps pressing because the boats are no longer the decisive weapon. They are the distraction, the visual noise, the pressure applied to human nerves while the last cruise missile closes. At 04 to 53 in 21 seconds, failing CIWS takes over. If you've never heard a close-in weapon system engage, imagine a chainsaw made of thunder. The 20mm gun spins to life and spits a wall of tungsten into the missile's path at thousands of rounds per minute. The sound is not a crack, it's a ripping metallic scream. The last incoming cruise missile vanishes into sparks less than a mile from the ship. Final on the air attack: 4 launched, 4 destroyed, 0 hits. But the sea battle is still raging. One of the surviving fast boats, likely carrying explosives in this scenario, commits to a direct closing run. That changes the rules. No more ambiguity. The captain authorizes full lethal engagement on any craft maintaining attack profile. The 5-inch gun joins in, not with area bombardment, but with precise surface target fire coordinated through the combat system and helicopter queuing. The first 5-inch round lands just beyond the charging craft, throwing a tower of water over it. The second does not miss. The boat disappears into spray, smoke, and fragments. Another 2 break away, trying to escape north toward the coast. The Seahawk tracks them. One is disabled. The other beaches itself near a rocky inlet. Running tally at 0, 4, 54. 12 fast boats initiated the surround. 5 destroyed, 3 disabled, 2 retreating, 2 still maneuvering aggressively. Those final 2 try one last tactic: bracket the destroyer from opposite quarters and force split fire. It doesn't work. The integrated picture is too clean now. One is hit by 25mm and dead in the water. The last turns away only after warning shots rake the waterline ahead of it. The surround has lasted less time than your coffee break. And yet the crisis is not over, because now command knows this was coordinated, not spontaneous. Boats, drones, missiles, jamming, a 4-layer attack package. That means response calculations change from local self-defense to theater-level consequence. At 5th Fleet Headquarters, battle damage comes in clean. No ship loss, no critical system hits, minor superficial fragment damage only. Crew intact. But rules of engagement in this fictional scenario do not permit planners to leave the launch architecture untouched. If you let the network survive, it fires again. So counterattack authorization moves fast. Not emotional, not theatrical, calculated. Within minutes, the response ladder activates. Carrier-based F, A-18E, F. Super Hornets already airborne in the region are retasked. An F-35C pair takes the forward sensor hunt. A U.S. submarine in the Arabian Sea receives preliminary target packages for coastal radar and missile support nodes. MQ-9 and Triton feeds continue building the pattern of life around IRGCN boat pens, mobile launch routes, command vehicles, and data relay sites. This is no random retaliation. This is systematic erasure of the attack chain. For every small boat they committed, the response now brings fighters, cruise missiles, electronic attack, and persistent surveillance. For every launch rail they exposed, 10 sensors are already mapping the roads away from it. At 5/7, the first American strike package crosses its weapons release line outside the densest coastal defenses. F-3-5Cs identify 2 mobile anti-ship missile batteries attempting to relocate under camouflage nets east of Bandar Abbas. They do not get far. Precision-guided munitions fall through the morning haze and turn both vehicles into burning metal. At 5:11, Super Hornets hit 2 IRGCN fast attack staging sites used in the swarm operation. Fuel bladders ignite, piers splinter. Several boats still tied up are destroyed where they sit. A drone relay van trying to flee inland is tracked and eliminated on a mountain road. At 5:14, Tomahawk missiles launched from offshore platforms arrive on pre-cleared targets, coastal surveillance radar, a command and control compound linked to the ambush, and a hardened communications node supporting missile queuing. One after another, the hits sever the nerve lines that made the attack possible. This is the part many people misunderstand about modern maritime combat. The ship you see is only one piece. The real fight is network against network, sensor against sensor, decision cycle against decision cycle. And once one side loses that contest, the visible battle becomes almost procedural. Minute 24, swarm broken. Minute 29, missile batteries destroyed. Minute 33, command links collapsing. Minute 42, organized coastal attack capacity in the local sector effectively neutralized. That is the timeline that matters. By 5:34 local, the fictional operation is over. Final tally in this scenario: 12 fast boats committed to the surround, 7 destroyed, 3 disabled, 2 escaped, 4 anti-ship cruise missiles launched, 4 intercepted, 2 drones lost, 2 missile batteries eliminated, 2 naval staging sites wrecked, 1 command compound and multiple support nodes destroyed. U.S. Casualties, minimal, with no combat deaths in this scenario. Strategic effect on the destroyer transit, none. Strategic effect on the attacker, severe. And that is the brutal arithmetic of modern escalation in confined waters. What began as 12 small craft trying to intimidate one destroyer ended as a demonstration of why swarm tactics alone do not overturn layered naval power, when that power is networked, disciplined, and authorized to finish the chain, not just survive the first blow. Iran, in this fictional scenario, tried to create a spectacle. Instead, it triggered a showcase of response speed, system integration, and maritime doctrine under pressure. Think about the contrast. The attacking force relied on compression, confusion, and camera-friendly aggression. The defending force relied on radar fusion, airborne ISR, electronic warfare, layered interceptors, disciplined gunnery, and joint force coordination, stretching from the ship's bridge to aircraft overhead to commanders far beyond the horizon. One side tried to shape perception, the other shaped the outcome. That is the lesson. In a place like the Strait of Hormuz, the most dangerous mistake is believing a warship is only the steel you can see. It is not. It is the aircraft you don't see, the satellite you can't touch, the submarine you never hear. The data links you don't know have already exposed you. And once that invisible architecture locks in, overconfidence becomes a fatal miscalculation. So, what does this reveal about future conflicts? That the first dramatic image online may not tell you who is actually winning. Share your take. Subscribe for more strategic analysis.